After watching the new banknotes manufacturing process, I finally understand why their anti-counterfeiting measures are considered some of the most secretive in the world. It all starts with a simple piece of white paper requiring dozens of artists to copy and engrave the template meticulously over 6 months. The precision of the engraving is comparable to the thickness of a hair. Combined with the new 3D security thread, the intricacy of the craftsmanship is beyond imagination. This large-scale banknote printing bureau is directly affiliated with the Central Bank of Japan. The first step in making banknotes involves the government hiring several seasoned craftsmen to draw the classic figures that appear on the banknotes. This is the initial design, but a single artist does not create these portraits. In the second step, known as print design, workers use colored pencils to draw the initial design of the banknote at a 1:1 scale. The process takes several days and uses more than 10 mineral and plant-based pigment types. The third step is intaglio engraving, where craftsmen engrave lines finer than a hair on a copper plate. This step must be done manually with the help of a magnifying glass, requiring precise finger strength and the ability to capture the detailed expressions of the figures. Once the copper plate is completed, we move to the fourth step. In the fourth step, digital plate making, craftsmen inspect every detail of the banknote, from every flower and tree to each line, adding peculiar symbols within the lines. Enter the fifth step, producing color-shifting ink. The ink includes acrylic resin, epoxy resin, polyester resin, alkyd resin, and phenolic resin. These resins are mixed in specific proportions, followed by the addition of dimethyl silicone oil, methyl hydrogen silicone oil, and more than 40 other pigments, including injectants, solvents, and catalysts. Next, use manila hemp, known for its high salt resistance and strong durability. The fibers are thoroughly shredded and mixed with a critical material, abaca paper. This processed paper contains a mixture that accelerates the evaporation of the raw materials, acting as a simple catalyst. The paper is completely broken down and flows into the purification tank, forming clumps. Each country's banknotes have different colors. If the banknote is too white, many enhanced bleaching retention agents and alcohol and ester solvents are added at this stage to make the ink feel more authentic. The figure is already engraved on the paper's surface, not printed on but pressed into the paper before it is formed. The ink is then added to make it last longer, and organic silicone must be added to reduce wrinkles, mainly for the convenience of blind individuals. Next, the paper is printed. The most important part is this machine. As moviegoers know, you can't just buy this machine. The white paper is printed with the initial design, and each batch is inspected with a magnifying glass. The anti-counterfeiting step is up next, so pay close attention. The banknotes become very vibrant in the video, and a distinct security thread appears. This is the new 3D security thread used in Japanese yen. No matter the angle, you can see a three-dimensional image, and each country has different security threads. The next step is printing the serial numbers. This is the final step before the banknotes are complete, marking the transition from white paper to a finished banknote. Each batch is inspected with a magnifying glass to avoid defects and damage. Next is the cutting process. First, each stack of paper is aligned and pressed to make it more cohesive. Once organized, it is transported forward and cut by another worker. This cutting knife is incredibly sharp, slicing the edges ideally in one go. This position must be the most exciting. However, these workers' daily earnings might not equal even one banknote, which could be a significant disparity. The trimmed edges are also strictly stored because they contain detailed data for each batch of banknotes. A 10,000 yen note is roughly equivalent to $60, and a box of these notes is worth about $10 million. Though it may not seem like much, the denominations are high. You might not know that the Japanese yen is considered the hardest currency to counterfeit. It uses hologram patterns and intaglio printing combined with pearlescent ink, which makes the numbers appear different from various angles. The banknote colors are printed twice, creating the famous overprint effect where two colors combine to form a third. To understand the third color, you need to discern the first two, making it difficult for ordinary people to identify the color details, which is part of its renowned anti-counterfeiting feature. At this point, the banknote is fully formed. Let's examine the yen's anti-counterfeiting features. Focus on the silver section on the left. When you bend it with your hands, you'll see an apparent 3D effect. This banknote is the new Japanese yen issued in July 2024.